Even though the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from the Mets in their first weekend series back in April, right now the Mets at 16-8 have the best record in baseball, while the Phils at 10-15 are off to one of their worst starts in a long time. Just about the only thing that the Phils have been able to get in gear so far is the Philly Fanatic scooter. And meanwhile, the first-place Mets are riding a 3-game win streak. And tonight's pitching matchup is right up there, too. Tonight, it's Dwight Gooden against Steve Carlton as Mets Baseball 85 gets your weekend started in style. It's coming up next, right here on Channel 9. Welcome to Mets Baseball 85, brought to you by Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste. By Manufacturers Hanover, we realize your potential. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive the sizzling 300ZX Turbo, one of the world's great sports cars. The 300ZX, it is awesome. By Express Mail, next day service from the Postal Service. By the Good Olds Guys, your New York, New Jersey, Southern Connecticut Oldsmobile dealers. By the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. And by TWA, leading the way, TWA. Tonight, live from Shea Stadium in New York, it's Mets Baseball 85, as this evening, the Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Pitching for the Phillies tonight, left-hander Steve Carlton, 0-2 this year with an ERA of 2.70. And going for the Mets, it's right-hander Dwight Gooden, 4-1 with an ERA of 1.57.
Everybody, I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriski, all set for the first game of this 3-game set with the Philadelphia Phillies. The Mets are in first place. They're 1/2 game up on the Chicago Cubs, who are playing out of the coast. Mets with a record of 16 wins and 8 losses. And the Philadelphia Phillies come in 5th place. They have won 10 and lost 15. They are 6.5 games out. The Mets and Phillies have played 3 times so far this year. The Mets have won 1, and the Philadelphia Phillies have won 2. So the Phillies in METS Stadium hold the edge on the New York Mets 2-1. It's a beautiful night for baseball. And right now, let's go down to Tim McCarver.
And what a dream matchup. Steve Carlton against Dwight Gooden. These two fine professionals have faced each other once this season. Steve Carlton going 7 innings and giving up no runs, and Dwight Gooden going 8 innings and giving up no runs. And Keith Hernandez, of course, coming through with the big base hit in the top of the 9th inning as the Mets won their only game against the Phillies this year, 1-0. The Phillies really have some problems. They have some rabbits in front of Mike Schmidt with Von Hayes, Juan Samuel, and Jeff Stone, but Mike Schmidt's only hitting .210 with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. They also have incurred some defensive problems. So we'll be back with the start of tonight's ball game. Steve Carlton against Dwight Gooden, Cy Past against Cy Future. Right after this word from Bud Light.
Well, here at Shea Stadium, the Mets have taken the field. They have Keith Hernandez at first base, the veteran first baseman with the gold glove. At second base, Kelvin Chapman. Chapman sharing at second base. At shortstop, Rafael Santana. Over at third base, Ray Knight. Out of left field, the veteran George Foster. In center field, Mookie Wilson, who has more time with the Mets than anybody. And in right field, Darryl Strawberry. Behind the plate, Gary Carter. And on the mound, Dwight Gooden. Gooden with a record of 4-1, an earned run average of 1.57. He's walked only 13 while striking out 43 in 46 innings of work. Dwight Gooden, the sensational 20-year-old pitcher.
And the lineup of the Phillies, blazing speed in the first 3 men. Juan Samuel, the second baseman, leading off, followed by Jeff Stone, the left fielder. Von Hayes, the fleet-footed center fielder, batting third. Mike Schmidt, of course, everybody's power hitter, off to a slow start, batting fourth. First baseman Tim Corcoran will be the 5th place batter. Ozzie Virgil, who's been swinging the bat very well this year, batting 6th. Glenn Wilson, the right fielder, will hit 7th. Luis Aguayo, the shortstop, will bat 8th, and Steve Carlton, who is a fine hitting pitcher, batting 9th. So I guess you can safely say that both sides have 9 hitters in the lineup.
Good ball players all the way through, and we got a great crowd here tonight. The umpires for the game, Dutch Renner behind home plate, Ed Montague at first base, Fred Brocklander the umpire at second, Lee Wire the umpire at third. Over 40,000 people here to watch this matchup. And Juan Samuel stepping in. Juan hitting .255. He has 1 home run, 4 runs batted in. Rookie of the year last year, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Samuel with the all-time stolen base record for a rookie, and he misses the fastball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Samuel with 6 hits and 14 times up against the New York Mets this year. Off to a slow start after a fine year last year. And another fastball. Gooden starts this game at 43 strikeouts. The league leaders, De Leon and Valenzuela with 51. 1-2 pitch. Fastball fouled off. De Leon with 51 strikeouts. Valenzuela with 51. Nolan Ryan with 48. Soto with 48. Sutcliffe with 44. And then Dwight Gooden. That's the way they stack up in strikeouts for the National League. And the fastball sails away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Juan Samuel is a good fastball hitter, but you're not talking about that good a fastball hitter. You like ice cream too, but not a gallon at a sitting, right?
He brings it at you right here. You're going at the best.
All right, all you fastball hitters, here he is.
Step up, huh? Volunteer. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fastball off the hands and foul back. Samuel was up 701 times last year. That's a National League record. He struck out 168 times. As you look at the on-deck batter, Stone there with 26, and John Felsky, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And again, the fastball again fouled off.
He has fouled off 2 quality fastballs up in the strike zone, and that ball up has some extra zip on it. You mentioned his stolen bases last year. He had 72 stolen bases, but an alarming stat, he struck out 167 times, also a rookie record.
2-2 pitch goes to the curveball, and Dwight has struck out his first man. After all that smoke, Uncle Charlie came along.
All those expresses, and here comes the local. What a nasty local that was, too.
So strikeout number 44 for Dwight Gooden for the year. And it brings up Jeff Stone. Stone hitting .291, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 2 home runs against the Mets. Stone hitting unbelievably against the Met pitchers. .446.
He led all National League hitters against the Mets last year, batting .453, and this year he's picking up where he left off. 4 for his first 11 with 2 home runs, both of them coming off Ed Lynch.
That's after going 0 for 4 the first game he faced the Mets.
Against Dwight Gooden.
Brought up from Portland, had flown all night long in the red eye, came out to the ballpark and went 0 for 4. Tries to drag his way on and fouls it, strike 2. Stone might be as fast as anyone in baseball.
He has been bothered with a minor groin pull on that right side of his leg. So that has curbed his speed somewhat. He does have 5 stolen bases, but he's been thrown out 3 times.
2 strikes to count as Gooden faces his second batter. He struck out his first. Fastball hit down to third base. Ray Knight has it. And 2 men away. So the first 2 batters are out as Ray Knight gets the assist, and that'll bring up Vaughn Hayes. Hayes having a great start. He's hitting .344 with 1 home run, 16 runs batted in.
That was a good play by Ray Knight. When you have to play shallow because of a hitter's speed, a lot of times you do get those funky hops. Balls really don't have a chance to. You don't have a chance to catch it on the high hop and throw them out because you have to play shallow. If you're playing routine depth, no chance to get guys like Stone.
Oh, that's an infield base hit. So Von Hayes set to go against Gooden. Goes off with the curveball for ball 1. Hayes against the Mets is batting .400, 4 hits and 10 times up. One of his hits a home run. Fastball and a good one to count. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Von Hayes wasn't ready for that fastball right there. Did you see that little hitch right before the pitch was made? Hitters do not like that, and usually that's why they call timeout. But unfortunately, Dwight Gooden was in the full windup, and Hayes technically should have taken that pitch.
Hayes has a lot of Ted Williams in his batting stance. And a good fastball there, 1-2.
Including his number.
Right from the number. Number 9, the on-deck batter, Mike Schmidt. Von Hayes did take some instruction from Ted Williams. And he's incorporated a batting stance similar to Ted's. Can't go too far wrong there. 1-2. Fastball fouled away. Von Hayes came over to the National League from Cleveland.
Came over for 5 players in a much heralded trade. Jay Willard, a catcher who is now a catcher on the Indian staff. Manny Trio has since departed. Julio Franco, one of the real fine infielders in the game.
Good hitter. 1-2 pitch. Pop foul down the left field side. Well, the count stays at 1-2. Von Hayes, when he joined the Phillies, started going out on their winter tours where they made banquet appearances. He was surprised by the fact that the Phillies were so glib and eloquent. He says in Cleveland, we were funny on the field and not funny off, but in Philadelphia, they're funny off the field and not funny on. They played well when he joined the ball club. Hayes back for another piece of wood.
The Phillies, a fine organization, and there was a gentleman who played with the Phillies in '77 and '78, Davy Johnson. He owns the record for pinch hit grand slammers in a season. He had 2 of them in 1978.
He was the first player to go over to Japan and play and then come back to Major League Baseball.
That's a great trivia question about about Sadahiro O and Henry Aaron.
In the on-deck circle. Hit behind 2 of the greatest home run hitters in baseball history, which included Japan. Curveball, and it is out of the strike zone, 2-2. Dwight really pulling down on that one. Of course, Davy Johnson, known better by Met fans as the man who made the last out of the 1969 World Series when he was playing for Baltimore. Flight out to Cleon Jones in left field. Again, the curve, and it goes to 3-2. Von Hayes with 32 base hits. 8 of them have been doubles. But the Mets play him as an opposite field hitter. Fastball, and where was it? Man, what a break for Von Hayes to get a ball call on that pitch. White doesn't like it. Carter doesn't like it.
I think Hayes hesitated, thinking that he was going to throw his helmet in and get his glove. I think he thought the ball was a strike.
Man, that ball has to be a strike.
Yep, that's a good pitch right there.
Home plate umpire Dutch Renard said no, and so the first base run of the ball game as Mike Schmidt steps in against Gooden. Boy, you got to be living right to get a ball call and something like that.
Well, Von Hayes is batting .344 to lead the Phillies.
Well, Ted Williams used to get those kind of ball calls.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he came up with when he got that stance. Here's Mike Schmidt, throw to first base, almost thrown away. Gooden has improved his pickoff move at first. He had 1 pickoff last year, and so far this year he's picked off 2 batters. Von Hayes, a good base runner. He can steal. A little closer there, and Von Hayes back. He's had 5 stolen bases in 9 attempts. Phillies have had 22 stolen bases out of 32 attempts. They have that kind of a team. They can run.
One thing you don't want to do is concern yourself too much with Von Hayes. If you do, may not have a chance to throw him out because you got some thunder up there at the bat.
And Smith hits it into center field. It's fairly deep, but Mookie Wilson has plenty of time to get under it, and that retires the side. So no runs, a walk, and one man left. The score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Phillies, nothing. The Mets coming up. Now here's a word from the good old guys. Steve Carlton with a record of 0-2 on the mound, an earned run average of 2.70. Steve making his second appearance against the Mets. He has struck out 11, walked 17, given up 26 hits in 30 innings of work. And his first batter, Mookie Wilson, starts off with a slow curve. That's got to be a surprise, Tim. Mookie hitting .262. No home runs and 3 RBIs. And Carlton back with that fastball. Mookie tops it out to the mound and 1 away. That'll bring up Calvin Chapman.
And the lineup, Calvin Chapman batting second, followed by Keith Hernandez. The middle of that lineup, Gary Carter, Darryl Strawberry, and George Foster. Ray Knight, Rafael Santana, and Dwight Gooden, a good hitting pitcher, bringing up the rear.
And Carlton, one of the great veteran pitchers, one of the great pitchers of all time, and he gets a strike on Calvin Chapman, who's hitting .158. Chapman with no home runs and 3 RBIs. Back with a breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Carlton's lane of the plate will be outside with his fastball. He will not come in with his fastball. Not come inside with the heater.
Goes back to the curveball. He's throwing more curveballs already than he usually throws. He usually works on fastball sliders.
That's probably an indication that Carlton's shoulder has been giving him problems and is giving him problems. One big reason, he only went 5 innings in his last outing against the Cincinnati Reds.
And again, the breaking ball, and they count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Check that. The Houston Astros was his last outing. He went 5 innings and gave up no runs.
Carlton has missed only 7 game starts in 14 years with the Philadelphia Phillies.
That's staggering, isn't it?
Unbelievable. He has worked now with this ball game 502 consecutive game starts. All-time Major League record. And it's popped up in the center field. So Chapman flies out to center field, 2 men away, and Carlton will be working to Keith Hernandez.
Number 7.
Defensively for Philadelphia, Corcoran at first base, Samuel at second, Aguayo at short, Schmidt at third, Stone, Hayes, and Wilson in the outfield. The catchers Ozzie Virgil, and of course Steve Carlton pitching. Hernandez hitting .299. He has 2 home runs, 15 runs batted in.
You talk about a guy who'll dive across the plate off of Steve Carlton. Saw Carlton come inside on Keith in his last outing. Came inside inadvertently, but he'll stay away from him.
And there he is outside with the first pitch. Fastball for ball 1.
Matter of fact, when I was catching Steve, I used to try to get him to come inside on Hernandez. And one night we did it twice successfully. The third time, an inside heater, he hit downtown. Steve had naturally something to say to me.
He did take you out after that game, huh?
Yes.
You catchers always call for the wrong pitch.
You got it.
You were the catcher when he struck out 19 and lost the ball game,
That's
too.
right.
High pop up foul. And it will be back out of play. 1969, Carlton struck out 19 batters in the game. The first man to ever strike out 19. And he lost the ball game.
Lost it on 2 two-run home runs by Ron Swoboda. And to this day, I don't know how Swoboda hit those balls on the good part of the bat and kept them fair.
1-2 the count as Carlton comes back there. Hernandez with a breaking ball. Keith 4 for 12 against the Phillies this year. Both Carlton and Hernandez started their major league careers with the St. Louis Cardinals. There's one of the strike zone, and that's it. So Carlton strikes out Hernandez, gets him looking, picks up his first strikeout. 1, 2, 3 for Carlton, and the score at the end of 1. The Philadelphia Phillies nothing, the New York Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
From out of the sky comes New York Newsday.
They sure have a great sports section.
New York Newsday gives you more than the news.
Well, we're going now to the top of the second. No score, and Tim Corcoran to lead off for the Philadelphia Phillies. Tim hitting at .302 for the year, no home runs, 7 RBIs. On the mound, Dwight Gooden. And this one pulled foul down the right field side as Corcoran gets in front of a fastball.
You have to zone hit against Dwight Gooden. You have to make the ball be down in a little box. You explained it very well last year, Ralph, on a 3-0 count. You make your square a little bit smaller. And that's really what you have to do with Dwight Gooden. You start hacking at that ball right around the waist or around the letters, and he's going to get you out.
And there's the one that'll get you out, that high fastball. That's the one that's tough to hit. Well, you're right, Tim. When you haven't got 2 strikes on you, you just say, I want that ball in a certain area, and if it's not there, take it.
You cut down on that little box. There's a big box for the strike zone, kind of a rectangular box from the letters to the knees and about the width of the plate. And you just got to make that box a little smaller when you're facing a guy like Dwight Gooden.
And it's popped up. High fastball popped up. The shortstop, Santana, making the call. And after a little dance, Santana puts it away. Yeah, you make that rectangular square is what you do. Now the batter will be Ozzie Virgil. Ozzie hitting .338 with 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. Ozzie got into an accident on New Year's Eve 2 years ago, and he's been a good hitter ever since. Almost had a finger shot off. Oh, he's been hitting ever since. I recommend that, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know. Got shot in the hand in a New Year's celebration down in Winter Ball, and the bullet lodged in his left thumb. And when they took the bullet out, he wore it for about a year around his neck. Now, that's not...
No, that's all right. It's not weird.
All right. Okay.
Rather wear it there than anywhere.
Rather wear it on a chain.
That's right. Fly ball to center field. Mookie is there. And 2 men away. So Dwight Gooden has worked his first 2 batters here in the second inning. No score in the ball game, and he'll now work to Mr. Wilson. Run hitting at .276 with 3 home runs, 19 RBIs.
Only Von Hayes, Mike Schmidt, Juan Samuel, and Glenn Wilson have played every game for the Phillies. Glenn Wilson playing every day and producing. Not so last year.
And a good one. That fastball right there for a strike. Wilson last year hit .240 for the Phillies with only 6 home runs in 132 games. Fastball fouled off.
I think a lot of times unfairly in baseball, people judge a trade by what the guy that you were traded for did. For instance, Glenn Wilson was traded for Willie Hernandez, the MVP and Cy Young Award winner with the Tigers. Really unfair to compare him with a guy who had a year like that.
And the curveball, strike 3. So Dwight gets his second strikeout. They've both been on curveballs. They've both been taken. And the score at the end of a 1-2-3 inning. It is the Philadelphia Phillies nothing, the New York Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Express Mail. Well, we're going to the bottom of the second as Gary Carter steps in, the catcher for the Mets. It's only fitting that Tim McCarver step in for his pitch as one of the great catchers in Major League Baseball.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much. Gary Carter has a 4-game hitting streak, and he's batting .266. Fastball for a strike on the corner. Gary Carter is Steve Carlton's perennial nemesis. He really picks Carlton up very, very well. Certainly the most dangerous Met in the lineup tonight. It's outside, 1-1.
Carlton pitching a little slower than he normally does.
He is. A little more tentative. This ball ripped, base hit, no, foul ball. Third base umpire Lee Wire called it foul, and it was just foul. Kind of quick called you there, Mr. Kiner.
Well, it looked like it was over the bag, but Lee Wire, as you can see, looking right at it. Now, it's not where it hits. It's whether it crosses over the bag. Ground ball like that. Lee Wire, squelched Lee Wire. He's lost some weight. Said no, foul ball.
So it's 1-2 to Gary Carter. No score, bottom of the second inning. Neither side with a base hit. Fastball fouled away, 1-2. Gary Carter with 5 home runs, 4 of which have been game winners. He has 12 RBIs. 1 grand slammer to his credit.
He's had 8 grand slam home runs in his major league career. Mike Schmidt in this ball game has had 7.
Got a good hack at that one, fouled it back, so it's 1-2 to Gary Carter. The reason that Carter has been effective against lefty over the years, he's laid off that slider in the dirt, and if you can do that, your chances of getting a base hit are considerably better.
And it has won 313 major league games.
And lost 209. There's that slider in the dirt, 2-2.
There are many pitchers that have won over 100 games more than they have lost. Tom Seaver is one.
Tom with over 290 wins now, 291 I believe he has. Another slider inside and just barely, and that's our point about laying off that slider, 3-2. Another slider, strike 3. Got him with that one. Just caught the corner. Second strikeout for Carlton. And there's one away here in the second inning.
Well, Carter looking for the fastball here and fooled by the curve. Home plate umpire Dutch Renard says strike 3.
And the batter, Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry only 3 for his last 24, batting .211. Slider outside, 1-0 to Darryl Strawberry, who homered against Carlton last year, June 20th. In a game the Mets won, the only game they won against Carlton last year. Lefty 1-1 against the Mets in '84. And it's 2-0 to Darryl Strawberry.
The Mets have a winning record against Carlton. They have defeated him 33 times. He has defeated the Mets 30.
Good breaking ball there. And it's 2-1 to Darryl Strawberry. Slider outside, 3-1. It's kind of unusual. The Mets have beaten Carlton and lost to Carlton more than any other pitcher that they faced.
It's hard to believe he has 63 decisions.
And third base umpire Lee Wire said he did not go on that ball. So the appeal play unsuccessful. Strawberry, the first base runner for the Mets, and he's a threat to steal.
Well, here's the pitch again. Carlton with that breaking ball, and it's out of the strike zone. Darryl holding up. Did he? Well, according to Lee Wire, he did.
I thought he went around, but no big deal. Only guy that counts is out there at third base. Carlton with 2 strikeouts now, 1 base on balls, and the batter George Foster batting .259 with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Throw to first base. Carlton has been called for 1 balk this year and usually leads the league in balks.
He has balked 80 times in his major league career, over twice as much as any other active pitcher.
And there he goes. Throw down to second, hits Strawberry, and he's safe at second base. Probably a throwing error on the left-handed fielding Tim Corcoran, the first baseman.
Well, the first baseman, when he gets this ball, has to come in to greet the ball. He has to go to the pitcher. So he gets out of the line of the base runner, and Corcoran didn't do that, and he hit Strawberry right in the back. Could go as a stolen base. It could go as an error.
You know, some well covered on that play because Aguayo was over in the hole with Foster hitting. Breaking ball, strike 1, 0-1. It is going to be charged as an error to Tim Corcoran, the first baseman. First error of the ball game, but not for the first for the Phillies this year.
The Phillies have made 31 errors now. They are going at a rate faster than last year. Last year, they made 161 errors in the season.
Second to the San Francisco Giants, and there goes Strawberry. Fastball for a ball, safe at third. Schmidt wants the call, but Strawberry safe. Good base running, Darryl Strawberry.
Right here, a fastball that's just outside. The throw by Ozzie Virgil is accurate, but not in time. And the fact that Strawberry made the slide in and came up certainly helped his cause. Lee Wire making the call. And when you can slide in and come up, it makes the call look like it's your way, but Schmidt has a case. He was out.
Schmidt does have a case, and I agree with you. He made the tag before Strawberry got to the bag. 1-1 to George Foster.
So you be the judge. Right here, Strawberry is
he had
tagged
him.
before he got to the bag.
He had him. Fastball for a strike on the corner. 1-2 to George Foster. But the key point that you made is the right point. He went in straight ahead. He tried to hook into that bag. He's out by 2 feet. You don't slide properly into a bag with a hook slide. That straight in slide gets you there quicker.
Gets you there much faster. The old fadeaway, huh?
Yeah,
that's no good.
That fadeaway, you can tank that baby. 1-2 to Foster. 2-2. Lou Brock, the all-time leading base stealer, always went in straight into a bag. Slider struck him out of there. Third strikeout for Carlton. Foster fails to do the job, and with 2 out, Ray Knight the batter.
Well, Foster has that easy RBI sitting out there. The infield is back. He set to third, and all he had to do was hit a ground ball or fly ball deep enough, and he didn't make contact. Those are tough outs.
I'm a little surprised the Phillies didn't have the infield halfway with Gooden pitching. The idea you're not going to score a lot of runs against him anyway. Nonetheless, the strikeout gets the Phillies out of the well somewhat. Now the Mets, for the most part, need the base hit to score Strawberry. 1-0 to Ray Knight. Ray batting .185, no home runs, 2 RBIs. Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner and Steve Zabriski bringing you an action-packed ball game, everything you'd ever hope for as far as a dream matchup. Carlton and Gooden. 2-0.
Tim, they said they might have about 45,000, but this place is almost full. They're still coming in.
Hanging from the rafters. By the way, that stolen base for Strawberry, his 6th of the year in 7 tries. The Mets now 24 of 28 in the stolen base department. 3-0.
Doesn't appear that Carlton wants to take on Ray Knight here.
Think Ray Knight wants to take on Steve on the 3-0 count?
I would say he should be.
Fastball is outside, so we'll never know. Second walk issued by Carlton. And the batter's going to be Rafael Santana. Sure looked like he was pitching around him, didn't he?
Sure did. Ray was ready to hit. He was, I'm sure, going to swing at that ball if it had been in the right spot.
Santana batting .189. He has 1 home run and 5 RBIs. Played as usual superb defensive shortstop position. Fastball outside. Carlton, to be more extensive with that, visualizes lanes in the plate. He says the outside 2 inches and the inside 2 inches are his. There's one that was Santana's as it was over the fat part of the plate. 1-1.
Yeah, he had a good fastball to hit there. Rafael has yet to have a hit against the Phillies this year. He's 0 for 7.
Mets losing 2 of 3 at the Vet a couple of weeks back. Tap toward first, foul ball. So it's 1-2 to Santana. This is a good running situation right here. Good time to put that play on that we talked about in spring training.
Break from first.
Have Ray Knight break, and the minute he breaks, send Strawberry from third. With the idea that the pitcher's going to throw to first. Nothing on. Did Santana go? No, says first base umpire Ed Montague.
And also on that pitch, Carlton did not stop. He didn't give the runner a chance to do anything. He just went right through the windup. rules say you have to come to a complete stop. A 1 second stop is the actual amount of time.
1001. 2-2 to Santana. 2 out. Knight and Strawberry at first and third. There goes Knight. Slider got Santana. 4th strikeout for Steve Carlton. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 2 left in the second for the New York Mets. And after 2, no score. We'll be right back right after this word from the good old guys. And leading off the 3rd inning here for the Phillies, Luis Aguayo. Aguayo batting .250, has 2 home runs. Both of them came in a 14-inning victory for the Phillies against the Houston Astros last Friday night. 3 RBIs. First major league home run against the Mets, against Pete Falcone in 1982. Curveball is low, 1-0 to Luis Aguayo. No score, win the 3rd. Gary Carter wants to check and see if Luis Aguayo is back too far in the box. Dutch Rennard gauging that. That really never should bother a catcher unless there's a man on base. But I guess Gary's thinking that if he ever gets up with a guy on base, he wants him conscious of that.
It's amazing. Right away, the first batter erases all the lines in the batter's box.
Yeah, that's right. No lines on that one. As Dutch Rennard said, it was low. 2-0 to Aguayo. Got to draw the line somewhere, right?
That's right.
Aguayo swings and fouls back ball 3, but it's 2-1 to Luis.
That was the great one that Bill Clem, the all-time great umpire, he'd draw a line there, and he said, if you step over that line, you're out of the ball game. You were arguing with him, he'd just say, hey.
Fly ball, right field, fair or foul. It's going to be foul, and Hernandez comes up with a brilliant catch. What a play by Keith Hernandez. 1 out.
It's like picking cherries out of the tree. Keith going back. This is a tough catch because you have to go out there, worry about the warning track, worry about the right fielder. Right here, Keith puts it right in the sack.
Like he caught that ball with a pot holder.
Yeah, look at this.
Right out of the oven. What a play by Hernandez. Those soft hands, huh?
He's got the great ones.
Here's Carlton. Lefty with a couple of hits and 11 trips this year. Takes a fastball for a strike.
Good hitting pitcher. Had a grand slam home run last year against Fernando Valenzuela. His first major league grand slam.
And then in the next start, Valenzuela against Carlton. Valenzuela had the only RBI in the game, struck out 15 and won 1-0.
I guess he showed them, huh?
Yeah. So they battered each other in 2 ball games. 1-2 to Steve Carlton. Steve with 15 lifetime home runs. Had an idea, held up, 2-2. Fastball is high. So the count is full to Steve Carlton. Facing a man half his age, Dwight Gooden. Swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout for the doctor. He has now retired 6 in a row. 2 out.
In the National League, the Expos leading 4-0 against the Braves of Rick Mailer. Mailer 7-0 in the year. Chance to lose his first ball game. Astros 2-0 over the Reds in the 6th. And all the other games out on the West Coast.
Battle of the unbeatens up in Montreal. As a matter of fact, Bryn Smith going against Rick Mailer, who's out of there now. Bryn Smith's 4-0.
4-0.
And the batter, Juan Samuel, he struck out his first time up. 0-1.
Atlanta with a very peculiar situation. They've had only one starting pitcher win a ball game.
And here it is a month into the season. Amazing. Mailer 7-0. Curveball is inside. 1-1 to Juan Samuel. Dwight Gooden 4-1 on the year. A brilliant 1.57 ERA. His 6th sixth start. Air ball, 1-2. K Corner is alive with cue cards out there. And they queued up the right number. Fourth strikeout for Dwight Gooden, a fastball out of the strike zone. And the Phillies go in order here in the third, and after 2.5, there's no score. Now here's a word from Lincoln Mercury.
Well, fans, if you're planning on attending Cap Day next Sunday afternoon, May 19th, when the Mets play the Giants, you better act quickly because almost all of the reserve seats are sold out, and general admission tickets will be on sale tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow morning at Shea's advanced ticket window. This year's cap is different from the traditional home cap given away every year. It's all white with Mets in script across the crown there, and it's free to everyone who attends the next Sunday's game with the Giants, courtesy of Baby Ruth and Butterfinger. But again, you better not wait too long. General admission tickets will go on sale tomorrow morning at Shea's advanced ticket window located between the gates C and D. That's Cap Day next Sunday afternoon, May 19th. The Mets against the Giants at 1:35 p.m. Free caps to all from Baby Ruth and Butterfinger. Baby Ruth and Butterfinger. Better than ever.
And Steve Carlton will make a visit to the doctor's office. Dwight Gooden will be batting to lead off the third. No score. Matter of fact, there's been no score yet when these two fellas have been on the mound. Their first outing, both pitched scoreless ball through 8 innings, and Gooden won it on a broken bat base hit by Keith Hernandez in the top of the 9th inning. Gooden won 1-0. Carlton was out of there by then, though. Fastball outside, 1-1 to Dwight Gooden.
You know, in hitting, a triple crown means leading the league in average, home runs, and RBIs. In pitching, it means something different.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
It means wins, strikeouts, and earned run average. And Carlton, the last pitcher to win the triple crown of pitching. In 1972, he led the league in wins with 21, earned run average of 1.98, and strikeouts of 310.
Tack on another strikeout for Carlton. That's 5 for the evening.
His last 5 outs have been strikeouts.
Struck out the last batter, Keith Hernandez, in the first, and then, although walking 2 in the bottom of the second, he struck out Carter, Foster, and Santana. Now he strikes out Gooden and the batter, Mookie Wilson. Mookie tapped back to Steve in the first inning. Ralph, I got a great story for you. I got a letter from a young lady who says that in German, Mookie means darling. Okay? Ground ball, base hit. First base hit of the ball game. So that darling Mookie is now on first base.
Well, this is the first hit of the ball game as Mookie gets it by the shortstop, Aguayo. And the Mets have a base runner now with the very fast man on base in Mookie Wilson.
Kelvin Chapman, the batter. Kelvin flied to center his first time up. Wilson with 7 stolen bases in 8 attempts. Throw to first. Darling of the Shea 45,000 is back. I asked Mookie about that, and he said, you know, there might be something to that. Another throw to first, Mookie back. He said that he was named by his grandmother, named Mookie by his grandmother, and he's from Earhart, South Carolina, a town of 2,000 people, spelled E-H-R-D-A-R-D-T. And every year they have the Sluisenfest there, which is a festival at harvest time. So Mookie said there might be some truth in that meaning darling in German, because he comes from a German area, German community. So it's 0-1. Make that 1-0 to Kelvin Chapman, as that ball was too low.
Another facet of our ever-searching
That's right.
For the truth.
That is correct. Another throw to first. Wilson back. Grounded toward third, but foul as Wilson was off with the pitch.
Mookie at first base has had 7 stolen bases out of 8 attempts. And as we mentioned, Carlton with that great move to first, and any great move is close to a balk, and he's been called for a balk 80 times in his major league career.
Jerry Koosman taught Steve that move, and I remember when he taught it to him back in 1975. Fastball outside, 2-1. We'll see if they run again. Koosman said if you show the runner at first base the sole of your right shoe.
That's if you're left-handed.
If you're left-handed, right. Yeah, you don't want to do that if you're right-handed.
It would be hard to do.
Look like a horse in the starting gate if you do that. Fastball outside, 3-1. But that would freeze that runner over there, and usually it does. If he can see the sole of your right shoe, usually you have the option of going home or going to first, and that's what Carlton tries to flash at that runner. Mookie back in time. Every runner's got a key. If he sees that right leg, Carlton's right leg, go behind that left leg, he's gone. And if he goes to first, that's a balk. And there he goes. Pitches a strike, safe at second base. 8th stolen base of the year for Wilson.
And this is a 3-1 fastball. A good pitch to throw by Ozzie Virgil, but Mookie with a straight-in slide beats the tag. And he just did beat it.
Sure did. Aguayo making a quick tag,
Good throw, but just not in time. Second base umpire Fred Brocklander making the safe call, and Mookie now with his 8th stolen base.
3-2 to Chapman, and there goes Wilson. Fouled it off. Boy, did he have a jump.
He crossed everybody up there.
Yeah, you'd think he was too tired after just stealing second, right?
Well, there's nothing Chapman can do. He's batting with a 3-2 count. He has to swing at the ball.
Third base, much easier to steal off of Carlton, not only because of his move to first, but because of that uncoiling, and that's how he combats it. Naturally, no balk. Still 3-2 to Chapman. Ground ball, foul. That slider is usually on the inside part if it's a strike, and if you do get the good part of the bat on it, you usually pull it foul. That's where Mike Schmidt, the third baseman, and the first base umpire Ed Montague really come in when Carlton's pitching because of that slider down and in. There's Ed at first base. Swing and a miss at the fastball. 6th strikeout for Carlton.
And his last 6 outs have all been strikeouts.
Yep.
In the America League, Toronto 4, Mariners 2 in the 4th. Tie ball game, 2-2. Twins and Orioles in the 2nd. Hayes leading the Red Sox 2-0 in the 4th. No score in the 1st inning. The Angels against the Brewers. No score. The Tigers against the White Sox in the 1st, and the Yankees won the Royals nothing in the 1st.
Kind of a strange outfield alignment for Keith Hernandez. Von Hayes playing him a bit to pull. He hits the ball to left field off of Carlton. Left center's his gap. There's a fastball inside, but he didn't want to put it there. 1-0 to Hernandez. He struck out back in the 1st inning.
Got him looking on a fastball.
There's that fastball away, so it's 2-0 to Hernandez. Gary Carter on deck. Certainly not a situation where you'd pitch around Keith. Wilson at second, 2 out, no score in the 3rd. Slider is inside. He may have the green light here. 3-0 to Keith Hernandez. Pops it up. He had the green light. Left side of the infield, Mike Schmidt calls off Aguayo and makes the catch. No runs, 1 hit, and the Mets strand Mookie Wilson at second base, and after 3, no score. We'll be right back right after this word from Bud Light.
From out of the sky comes New York Newsday.
They sure have a great sports section.
New York Newsday gives you more than the news.
Well, we're going to the top of the 4th. Scoreless ball game. The Mets have the only hit of the game, and as the Phillies come in, stepping in for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriski.
Thanks a lot, Ralph, and hi, everybody. As advertised tonight, Dwight Gooden against Steve Carlton, and here's Jeff Stone to lead it off. Fouled away, out of play, strike 1. So far, Gooden through the first 3 has not allowed a hit. He has struck out 4. He has walked only 1. Stone grounded to Ray Knight at third his first time up on a good play by Knight. And Dwight wants a new baseball. Jeff Stone came into the game hitting .304 over the last 7 ball games. He's got his average up to .291 at the start of tonight. Foul back way behind the fastball, and it's 0-2. Be interesting, don't you think, Ralph, if there was somebody they could determine who is the fastest man in baseball? Stone would have to be a lot of people's bet going into the race.
And they say that they signed him up, timing him on a cornfield or something close to that.
Tipped into Carter's glove, strike 3. Number 5 for Dwight Gooden, who has now retired 8 in a row. The last 3 consecutive via strikeouts.
Right here, the good fastball by Gooden. Dwight getting his 48th strikeout. The league leaders have 51. Valenzuela and De Leon.
Von Hayes, the only base runner for the Phillies tonight, walked back in the first inning. Hayes has a 4-game hitting streak. He's also hit in 10 of the last 11 games. He's hit .419 over the last 11 and driven in 14 runs in his last 16 ball games. Strike 2. This is a rare occasion tonight. When Dwight is pitching, we are unable to hear Dutch Rennert. The fans are drowning out the normally extremely well heard home plate umpire. 1-2. One out, nobody on, top of the 4th, in the scoreless ball game. 6 strikeouts for Gooden, 4 Ks in a row.
Well, again, it's a fastball, and Dwight in a good spot with it. High and outside, tough pitch to hit, especially tough for a left-hand batter. And now Mike Schmidt coming up.
Schmidt fly deep to Mookie Wilson in center field his first time up. That ended the first inning. Schmidt went 1 for his first 26 this year. Big curveball, but high, ball 1. And since that 1 for 26 start, he's hit .291 over the last 16 games. Fastball check swing fouled back, and it's 1-1.
I think the telltale stat on Mike Schmidt and the Philadelphia Phillies in 5th place is the fact he's had only 2 home runs, and he's driven in only 9. Last year he hit 36 home runs to tie Dale Murphy, and he also led the league in RBIs with 106 to tie Gary Carter.
Curveball, strike 2.
Oh, he just throws Schmidt with that curveball. Dwight's got an excellent curveball here tonight. Look at the break on this pitch. This thing just falls off the table. Look at Schmidt.
Well, you talk about being locked. If you ever wanted to show somebody the definition of the term locked up, that was it. Breaking ball in the dirt, and it's 2-2. You could see him lock up.
You want to check out the ball. Well, after those last two curveballs, Schmidt is certainly set up for a high inside fastball. You like to pitch Schmidt inside with your fastballs high and inside.
Like many power hitters, it gets tied up.
He likes the ball out over so he can get his arms out.
2 out and a 2-2 count on Schmidt. Dwight Gooden has retired 10 batters in a row. The last 5 he has struck out. He has now struck out 7 through the first 4 innings of this scoreless ball game. We're back at Shea after this word from the good old Skies. Bottom of the 4th inning in a scoreless affair. Gary Carter to lead it off, having looked at a called third strike his first time up. Carlton has struck out 6 through the first 3. Carter to be followed by Strawberry and Foster as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Ball 1. Gary has a 4-game hitting streak going, during which he's hit 2 home runs, driven in 7, and batted .429. Ball 2. Carter called out on a Carlton slider. Ripped to third. Schmidt up with it cleanly. And a high throw, but Corcoran stays on the bag. 1 away. Well, as we are here in the bottom of the 4th inning, it's time to play Mets trivia. Now, most fans who follow the Mets closely know that the starting lineup for opening day, way back in 1962, the year that the Mets were born. But do you know the 2 players who returned to the starting lineup in opening day of 1963? You think it over, and while you think it over, Mr. Kiner will think it over. And before the end of this inning, we'll flash the answer on the screen for you. No cheating, Mr. Kiner. I know you don't need to look at the answer. But Strawberry lofts one to center field. Hayes coming in. Can't get there. Knocks it down now. Strawberry, who was halfway to second, will go back to first. First, or rather second base hit of the ball game. Both by the Mets.
Hayes looks like he has some trouble with this. He doesn't get a very fast break in. There he comes. And the ball, a dying quail, just drops in front of him. Strawberry made a big turn at first base, had an idea about going to second, but when Hayes recovered the ball so quickly, he had to stop at first base. So Von Hayes tried to get to it, couldn't do it. The Mets have their second hit and a runner on with 1 man out here in the 4th inning.
Strawberry walked, if you remember, back in the 2nd, then went to second when Carlton had him picked off on the throwing error by Corcoran, and then stole third base, and then another throw to first. The Mets have stolen 2 bases in the ball game, and they have now stolen 25 of 29 this year. George Foster struck out his first time up. And Strawberry is chased back again.
And Foster struck out a big one. Runner on third base with 1 out when he struck out.
3rd consecutive throw over. George also the victim of the Carlton slider, only swinging. Foul back out of play. Strike 1. Foster with a 4-game hitting streak. He's hit .333 over the last 4. And during the last 11 games, he's hit 2 home runs and driven in 7. And that's what he's done for his career against Philadelphia.
31 home runs against the Phillies. Mike Schmidt has hit 38 home runs against the Mets. I guess these 2 fellows like to play against each other.
Schmidt has hit more than any other visiting player, hasn't he? Or opposing player, I should say. One strike the count, 1 out. Strawberry at first. 1-1. Outside, 2-1. So far, the game has gone pretty much as everybody anticipated with these two guys on the mound tonight.
As advertised. Fans are getting their money's worth. Carlton has struck out 6. And Gooden has struck out 7.
Throw to first. Carlton has yet to put the good move on Strawberry this time. He had him picked off back in the second. Strawberry goes, and the pitch is driven deep to left. Home run! George Foster makes it a 2-0 New York lead as he drives his 4th home run of the year over the left field wall to drive in his 9th and 10th RBIs of the season.
Well, right here on a 2-ball, 1-strike count, a perfect hit and run count. Strawberry running with a pitch. But Foster puts it out of play. And the Mets take the lead by a score of 2-0.
George hit that ball like a rocket, and it cleared the wall by 4 or 5 feet. Ray Knight takes a strike. Still 1 out. Foster has cleared the bases, and Ray, as you see, walked his first time up.
That is the first home run given up by Carlton this year.
One and one.
That's a perfect way to execute a hit and run play.
You got that right. The runner doesn't have to look back and check. Just keep on running. Popped up down the right field line, but it'll be out of play back in the seats, and the count will be 1-2. Knight hitting only 185, no homers and 2 RBIs. He and Howard Johnson being platooned, and of course Ray missed the first part of the season after that arthroscopic elbow surgery.
He has a lifetime average of 280.
Well, he's no 185 hitter, that's for sure. Two and two. Hit hard, but foul out of play. Ray Knight from the sunny climes of Albany, Georgia. Breaking ball grounded to third. Easy play for Schmidt. And they're 2 away. Well, here's the trivia question once again, if you've thought about the answer. Who were the only 2 players to start for the Mets in 1962 and again in 1963, both opening days? Mr. Craner, would you venture a guess at that?
No, I'm going to leave that to the people in the audience.
Okay. Well, if you said, you at home, Roger Craig and Frank Thomas, you were absolutely correct, because those are the only 2.
Roger Craig lost 20 games both those years for the New York Mets.
And he started both losing streaks on opening day both years.
First year, the Mets lost their first 9. The second year, they lost their first 8. They were improving.
Santana with a tap back to Carlton, and the inning is over. But the Mets score 2 on George Foster's 2-run home run, his 4th dinger of the year. And at the end of 4 here at Shea in this tight pitching duel, it's the Mets 2 and the Phillies nothing. Now, here's a word from Budweiser. Steve Zabriski along with Ralph Kiner and Tim McCarver coming to you from Shea Stadium, where the Mets lead 2-0 as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Dwight Gooden has retired the last 10 in a row. The only blemish on his record so far, a walk to the third hitter of the ball game, Vaughn Hayes, in the 1st inning on a very close pitch. And since that walk, he has retired 10 in a row. Corcoran popped out to short back in the 2nd inning. And Dwight Gooden has struck out 7 through the first 4. The last 5 batters in a row have been retired via strikeout. And there are the K's in K corner.
Dr. K, living up to his nickname.
Ball 1 to Corcoran. Corcoran hitting .333 over the last 15 ball games. The Phillies have been producing some offense. We've got a couple of guys in the top 10 hitters, Hayes and Virgil. Ball 2. Gooden wants another baseball. There's John Felsky, first-year manager. They have not been winning ball games, however. That's a strike, and it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Corcoran to be followed by Ozzie Virgil and then Glenn Wilson. Fastball popped up. Could be playable. It's near the stands. Just 2 rows back. Foster, Knight, and Santana all there giving it a look. 2-2 now on Corcoran.
Well, the Phillies came in here with a 3-game losing streak in spite of a .250 team batting average. The Mets as a team hitting only .227. But those BAs don't mean a whole lot. It's those RBIs and runs scored.
And ultimately that W. You look at the Mets, they're 10th in hitting in the league out of 12 teams, 10th in pitching, and have the best record percentage-wise in baseball. Fouled away, and it's still 2-2. It's still awfully early in the season for statistics to be all that meaningful. But a lot of times, patterns get set. The Mets are, however, succeeding with a rather incongruous pattern. Low team batting average and a relatively high team ERA. Popped up and out of play once again, still 2-2.
Toby Harris said that statistics are like a bikini bathing suit. They show an awful lot, but not everything.
And they're often interesting to look at. Get your souvenirs here. 2-2. Corcoran held up, and it's a full count. And I believe that is the first full count Dwight has had on a batter tonight.
Oh, he was 3-2 on Vaughn Hayes.
Oh, that's right.
When he
walked him
walked
on a 3-2 pitch. What a crowd. Near capacity here at Shea tonight. Big breaking ball, but ball 4, low and outside. So the Phillies have their second base runner on the second walk issued by Gooden, and the leadoff batter aboard here in the 5th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WOR-TV and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of audiences, and any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WOR-TV is prohibited.
Nobody out. Corcoran with no stolen bases at first for Ozzie Virgil, one of the hottest hitters around right now. A 6-game hitting streak over which he's hit 400. Takes the ball inside. Virgil's also hit in 10 of his last 11 games. And he's driven in 8 runs during those 11 games. Came into tonight hitting .338. Good enough for 6th in the National League behind Tommy Herr, the leader at .366. Fly ball hit the deep right center field. Mookie Wilson and Strawberry back there. It's Strawberry on the track who makes the catch. And Corcoran, who is all the way to second base, will go back to first. One away. Virgil gave it a ride, but Strawberry got there.
In case you're wondering what the record is for consecutive strikeouts, Dwight had 5 in a row. It is 10. And the record held by Tom Seaver when he struck out his last 10 batters against San Diego back in 1969.
Glenn Wilson looked at a called third strike back in the second inning. Wilson's only hitting .571 against the Mets coming into tonight, 4 for 7. Carter with a good play. Almost knocked Wilson down getting the ball after it was blocked in the dirt.
Dwight says that he likes to sweat when he pitches. He's got a good night for it tonight.
It's a warm one. It's supposed to be a warm weekend here in New York. Temperatures expected to be in the daytime in the upper 80s. 1 ball to count. 2-0. Good heater that time, and it's 2 balls, 1 strike.
Gooden struck out Wilson on a curveball. The only strikeout he has had on a curveball. That was back in the second.
And that's the only called third strike he's gotten. Really got in his kitchen that time. Came up and in, and it's 2-2. How can you catch up with that pitch when it's in on your hands?
That pitch can't be hit.
Impossible.
All you hope to do there is foul it off.
Corcoran at first with 1 out. Ground ball to third. Knight to Chapman. Double play. The Mets turn the 5-4-3 to end the inning, as Gooden faces the minimum here in the 5th, although he allowed his second walk. And in the middle of the 5th, the Mets still lead it 2-0. Now here's a word from Exxon.
Gooden, the leadoff for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Mets leading by a score of 2-0. Gooden hooked up with the veteran Steve Carlton. Dwight struck out his first time up. And Carlton misses with a fastball. Carlton has struck out 6. And Dwight has struck out 7. And Gooden goes for it. Carlton second on the all-time list in strikeouts. Nolan Ryan, the all-time leader, getting close to 3,900. The fastball. Carlton started his season just 2 strikeouts behind Nolan Ryan, but Ryan has put some distance between them. And another one out of the strike zone. All 4. So Carlton has walked Dwight Gooden as he leads off here in the 5th inning.
In the National League elsewhere tonight in the 8th inning, Montreal leads Atlanta 5-0. Also in the 8th inning, Houston over Cincinnati 2-0. And all of the other games are later. Of course, the Mets fans watching the Cubs at the Padres. It'll also be Pittsburgh at Los Angeles. I think Jerry Royce is pitching in that game against his former team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Shouldn't be many runs scored in that game either. Not necessarily because of the pitching.
Dodgers have had trouble scoring runs.
So have the Pirates.
And Mookie Wilson batting for the 3rd time. Mookie singled for the first hit of the ball game back in the 3rd inning. Mets have 2 runs on 3 hits. Mookie looks at a fastball. And the Phillies have no runs and no hits.
And else we be chided, let us say that St. Louis is also at San Francisco later on tonight.
You don't want to be chided. Toss over to first base, and the base unoccupied, and they have a new balk rule says you can't throw to an unoccupied base, or it's a balk.
I don't know why in the world that wasn't called, because Corcoran is definitely playing behind Gooden.
And Mookie moves out in bunting position, and Rennert calls it a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mookie Wilson.
Mookie, of course, has not played a whole lot this year because of the shoulder problem that's been bothering him. Yeah, that would have been Ed Montague's call, first base umpire.
And the fastball fouled off, so the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mookie checking out the signs with Coach Bobby Valentine. Fastball again. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dave Rooker throwing in the bullpen for the Philadelphia Phillies. Bottom of the 5th inning, no one out. The Mets with a runner at first base, leading by a score of 2-0 as Steve Carlton works back to Mookie Wilson, and the curveball top foul.
Carlton is scheduled up second in the top of the 6th inning for Philadelphia, so this may be his last inning.
Mets brought a 3-game winning streak into this ball game, and they have won 7 of their last 10. And they have the best record in Major League Baseball with 16-8. Struck him out. So Carlton gets his 7th strikeout.
Carlton with a high fastball here, taking a page from the Dwight Gooden strikeout book. One thing about Lefty, he's got a variety of things to work with, and his great experience and knowledge of pitching helps him to maintain his effectiveness even though he's had that shoulder problem. He's just changed things a little bit.
Now it's Calvin Chapman, and he takes for ball 1. Chapman struck out on a fastball in the 3rd, flied out to center field in the 1st, so he's 0 for 2. And it's ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Carlton, with his 7 strikeouts, now has 18 for the year.
And the fact that he only had 11 coming into the night points up the fact that he's had some problems physically.
And there's a strike call. It's 2-1. Dwight Gooden, the runner at first base with 1 man out. Lions score the ball game. Ground ball to the shortstop, Aguayo. He boots the ball. Everybody is safe. The second error by Philadelphia, and they're 32nd in 26 games this year.
Well, we talked about the fact that the Phillies have had problems even though they're hitting the ball and scoring some runs, and a lot of those problems have been problems just like the one you saw there. Luis Aguayo playing instead of Steve Jeltz, and errors continue to plague the Phillies. And the Mets now have a runner in scoring position and 2 on with only 1 out for Keith Hernandez.
And Keith, batting for the 3rd time, is 0 for 2. Called out on strikes his first time up, and on a 3-0 pitch he popped a 3rd. And the first pitch is strike call. And strike 2. Carlton's record last year, 13-7 with 13 no decisions. And it's hit out to left center field. Jeff Stone is out on the warning track, and he hauls it in. Gooden goes back to second base, and Chapman back to first, and now with 2 men out, the batter will be Gary Cooper.
Well, Jeff Stone's speed made this a relatively easy play for him. For a lot of left fielders, this would not be an easy play at all. But Stone, because he runs so well, was able to get there in plenty of time.
Carter in this game has struck out. He was called out on strikes his first time up, and he has grounded out. 30 home runs against the Phillies. And it's lined to left field. It will be a tough catch. Did he make the play? Jeff Stone dives and gets the out call. So Jeff Stone with a diving catch keeps the Mets from scoring, and it ends the inning.
Well, again, his speed comes into play, once going back and now coming in. This ball sinking fast, and Stone short hopped that ball. Let's look at it from a closer shot. That ball hit the ground, but he got the call from third base umpire Lee Wire. And the inning is over.
And it's over because of Lee Wire. In the inning, no runs, no hits, 1 error, and a walk, and 2 men left on base. The score at the end of 5, the Mets 2 and the Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from the side. Well, we're going to the top of the 6th inning. The Mets leading by a score of 2-0. And for Philadelphia, they will have the shortstop Luis Aguayo to lead off. Dwight Gooden on the mound for the Mets.
Well, there's terror on the subways in the suspense drama The Incident. Martin Sheen and Beau Bridges had an all-star cast Tuesday night at 9 on the $1 Million Movie, The Incident. Terror on the subways. What's so unusual about that? Must have had a roving camera in Manhattan.
So Gooden set to go. Mets 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. The Phillies no runs, no hits, and 2 errors. And Luis Aguayo to lead off. Aguayo out in a great catch in foul territory by Keith Hernandez his first time up. Carlton due up next, and he is not in the on-deck circle. Greg Gross is out there to pinch hit. There you see Greg Gross. Mets leading 2-0. Dwight Gooden here in the 6th, and it's ball 1. Aguayo from Puerto Rico, hitting .250 for the year, and he takes a ball, and it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Luis from Vega Baja. Might be a couple of folks down there viewing our game tonight as WOR is beamed into Puerto Rico.
And the fastball they called strike, 2-1. Aguayo came into this game making his first appearance against the Mets. Fastball, a check swing, foul ball, strike 2. Aguayo just did get his bat off his shoulder. That was about all. Larry Anderson throwing in the bullpen for Philadelphia.
And the Phillies bullpen has been tough.
And it goes to 3-2. 3-2. Dwight going to his 3rd full count. He has walked 2, the only base runners. That's hit foul. And you can see the Mets have nearly a full house here tonight.
We may not get the attendance figure till the 9th inning
of tomorrow's game.
They love the doctor. Love to come and see him throw that ball.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. And he walks him, and it'll put the time run at the plate.
Well, Dwight walked the leadoff batter last inning in the top of the 5th, Tim Corcoran. But got a double play, a rare double play ball from Gooden to get out of that inning.
For pitcher, Steve Carlton.
So Carlton leaves the ball game for the pinch hitter.
Gross hitting .200 with no homers and 2 RBIs as a pinch hitter, 2 for 11, and those 2 RBIs came in pinch hitting roles.
He has 90 pinch hits in his major league career, tied with Rusty Staub in that department. And a few others. And the fastball for ball one. He is tied for 15th place in the all-time pinch hit list, along with Rusty Staub, Jay Johnstone, Ed Kranepool, and Elmer Vowell.
Don't forget Elmer.
Another one out of the strike zone, and it's ball two. Carter will go out to the mound.
You know, Ralph, it's a cliche to say this, but Dwight seems to have lost his rhythm, and by that, I mean that he doesn't look as smooth as he ordinarily is. Last inning or this inning, he seems to be falling off to the mound a little awkwardly, or off to the side of the mound.
And a strike call. Gross has hit only one home run since 1977.
Well, I remember when he was with Houston, they were touting him as the next Triple Crown threat. Very early in his career.
Go over to first base. Hernandez coming off the back. Mets don't play him like most clubs do. Mets play him fairly straight away, although they have the left fielder shaded near the foul line. Mookie is not too far toward left center. That's where he hits most of his hits. This one popped up in foul territory. Ray Knight over there has room, and he makes the play. Good play by Ray Knight.
And you can give an assist to the low third base camera. This is not an easy play. That ball has a lot of spin on it. He runs out of room. Now he has the camera to contend with, and he hangs right with it. Nice play.
So one away as Gross fouls out on the good play by Ray Knight, and that will bring up Juan Samuel, who has struck out twice. Samuel has struck out on a curveball and on a fastball, both times swinging. Fastball hit foul on the right field side, out of play.
I wonder if Samuel and Stone have ever had a match race, head-to-head.
Be awfully fast, wouldn't it?
Why? There's no telling how many bases this guy could steal if he'd get on more often. He's stolen 10 already this year. Ties him for third in the league behind Coleman's 21.
And a good fastball at strike two. Well, he set a rookie record for stolen bases last year. Had 72 out of 87 tries.
And you have to figure in, Ralph, all the strikeouts he had last year. If he'd gotten on base just a fourth of the times he struck out, how many stolen bases would he have?
168 strikeouts to set a record for a rookie. 701 at-bats to set a record for a rookie. Fastball popped up foul. It'll be out of play. That's a lot of lumber going up there 701 times. Taking that bat up there, what does it weigh? 32 ounces times 701 at-bats?
Somebody will figure that up and send you a letter. I don't have my calculator here.
The all-time record for at-bats is 705, held by Willie Wilson of Kansas City.
But you know, Ralph, that also points up the fact that he doesn't walk very much, because as a leadoff hitter, he's striking out 168 times. He would not have had that many at-bats had he walked just a few more times.
Goes to the curveball. Strike three.
Eighth strikeout for the Doctor. The second time he has gotten a third strike on a breaking ball, and both times he has caught the batter looking, and this is an indication of why.
He is now tied for the league lead in strikeouts with 51.
You saw earlier Mike Schmidt get locked up on a curveball. That time, Samuel just froze as well.
And that'll bring up Jeff Stone, who has struck out and grounded out. Mets leading 2-0. 2 men out. Top of the 6th inning, and the fastball foul back.
first series in Philadelphia between these two teams earlier in the year. The last two games of that series, the Mets couldn't get Jeff Stone out. He finished the series 4 for 11 with 2 home runs after not getting a hit the first game.
One strike to count to Jeff Stone. And it is on that inside corner, strike 2.
Even if he swings at this pitch, he's not going to hit it.
So good now with a 2-strike count. Throw to first base.
About half of the stadium on its feet, anticipating yet another K from the doctor.
Curveball. Where was it? Wow.
Dwight has missed a couple of strikeouts tonight on very, very close pitches. It had to be called high by Dutch Rennert, but baby, that's close.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Gooden will try again. Fastball foul back out of play. Jeff Stone, who batted .446 against the Mets last year. This crowd getting its money's worth here tonight. Fastball foul back into the stands. Runner going with a pitch, so have a little time for Aguayo to get back to first. Gooden, the youngest pitcher to ever start an opening day game. And the 1-2 pitch, curveball hit in the air to right center field. Strawberry has a lot of time to get there, and he does. So that ends the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk. 1 man left on base, and the score at the end of 5.5 innings, the Mets 2 and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from Garcia Vega.
Well, with bikini season just around the corner, it's that time of year when everybody seems to be exercising. Learn more about shaping up on a News 9 special report beginning Monday on News 9 at noon. New pitcher in the game, Ralph, it's Larry Anderson.
Larry Anderson coming in the ballgame, relieving Steve Carlton. Carlton worked the first 5 innings, pitched creditably. Gave up only 2 runs, allowed 3 hits while striking out 7 and walking 3. The big hit in the ballgame, a 2-run home run by George Foster back in the 4th inning. The only runs accounted in this game on the 2-run home run. Anderson has done well in the bullpen.
He has no wins nor saves, but an ERA of 2.70. This is his 6th appearance. He's pitched 30 innings. And the Philadelphia bullpen of late overall has been pretty tough. Anderson is not allowed to run in 13 2/3 innings of work and has not allowed a hit over his last 2 outings. He, along with Charles Hudson, Dave Rucker, who was up earlier in the bullpen, and of course Kent Tekulve being acquired from the Pittsburgh Pirates, have helped bolster that Philadelphia pen.
And Anderson's first batter will be Darryl Strawberry.
And fans, we want to remind you not to forget that Sunday is Mother's Day. If you do, your mother will let you know about it. And the Mets and Germac will be giving cosmetics bags to all ladies 16 and over. The bags will be filled with 3 Germac products. That's this Sunday, Mother's Day. The Mets and the Phillies right here at Shea at 1:35.
Strawberry has walked and singled in his 2 appearances tonight. Darryl was aboard when Foster hit his 2-run home run back in the 4th 4th inning, and Anderson starts off with a breaking ball. Ground ball to the second base side, fielded by Sam Well. The toss to first for the out. So 1 away as Strawberry grounds out. That'll bring up George Foster.
Foster now has a 5-game hitting streak going. He's hit 3 home runs and driven in 9 runs in his last 12 games, counting tonight.
Mets 2 runs on 3 hits. They made no errors. The Phillies, no runs and no hits. And they have made 2 errors in the ball game. Errors did not figure in the scoring. And the slider for ball 1. Good slider, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Foster's home run, a line shot to left field and cleared the left field fence and hit the back facade. Ground ball to the shortstop, Aguayo. Luis fights it off, gets the throw over to first base for the out. So 2 men away. And that'll bring up Ray Knight. Ray in this game has walked and grounded out. Larry Anderson last year won 3, lost 7, and had 4 saves, and he gets a strike call. And the fastball misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. Anderson is a man of great perseverance. As you look at Ray Knight, Anderson has spent parts of 12 seasons in the minors. Good slider in the count, 1-2.
The appropriate cliche would be, you got to love the game.
Went to the curveball and misses, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
What's kept him going, Ralph, is he also spent parts of those seasons in the big leagues.
Well, he's had a little time in the majors. And Knight is struck out on the slider, and the Mets go in order. So Anderson does a 1-2-3 job on the Mets, picking up a strikeout. And the score at the end of 6 innings here at Shea Stadium. It's the Mets 2 and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from your Tri-State Chevrolet dealer.
Well, you're seeing some great baseball action tonight, but the baseball action will continue as the Mets take on the Phillies once again Sunday afternoon at 1:30 right here on Channel 9. Join us this Sunday at 1:30. Mets and Phillies yet again for the best seat in the house. And here's a guy for 20 years or more had the best seat on the field. Right behind home plate, Tim McCarver.
That's debatable, too.
At times, the best seat.
Indeed it is. That 8-game stretch that Carter went through last week certainly did not have me relish being back there again. Here's Von Hayes. The Phillies have not had a hit. Top of the 7th inning. Another breaking ball in the dirt. 1-1. Hayes has struck out and walked. Gooden has struck out 8. He has walked 3. Mets have played errorless ball. A changeup for a strike. 1-2.
Gooden has not thrown many changeups tonight. I think that's the 2nd or 3rd one that I can remember. Maybe only the 2nd.
Hayes in the hole. 1-2 to Von Hayes. Breaking ball lifted to center. Mookie Wilson over. Mookie making sure that Darryl Strawberry does not venture into his territory there.
Yeah, Mookie would lose out on that collision.
Indeed he would.
Third baseman, Mike Schmidt.
And the batter, Mike Schmidt. He has fly deep to center. And he is struck out. Samuela struck out 3 times, Stone twice, Hayes and Schmidt once. And the doctor has K'd Glenn Wilson and Steve Carlton. 2-0 Mets lead. Schmidt fouls this one back, and he had a rip. 0-1.
That ball went right over our heads, and it was traveling. Well, when you hit a ball behind you with that much on it, you've had some kind of cut.
Fastball in tight. 1-1 to Mike Schmidt.
Schmidt is only 3 for 13 this season so far against the Mets.
Breaking ball high. 2-1 to Schmidt. Mike Schmidt has won or shared the Major League home run title in 7 years. And our colleague Ralph Kiner, the only other guy who has won or shared it in 7 years. Babe Ruth did it in 9 years. Led the major leagues in homers. That curveball is high. 3-1. My partner Steve Zabriski is fainting up here in the booth.
And you have to remember, it's not where the catcher catches it, it's where it goes through the strike zone. And
thought that might have been a strike.
It was close.
Okay.
It was close.
All righty.
An American League strike.
In the National League.
Right.
Swing and a miss. 3-2 to Schmidt.
That difference between the two leagues, though, is diminishing greatly because the American League umpires have gone to that inside chest protector,
which allows them to work the slots a lot better.
That's right.
Good point.
Moves that American League strike zone down in line with the National League.
Yeah, that big protector. I mean, you can't afford to squat. Otherwise, you bury the catcher face down. 3-2 to Mike Schmidt. Pops it up on the infield. Hernandez calling for it. 2 out. Now can we talk about it? Tim Corcoran, the batter.
Gooden has allowed only 2 walks. Struck out 8. 3 walks, I should say. Struck out 8. At one point retired 10 in a row.
Base hit right field. The first base hit of this ball game, as Gooden had gone 6 2/3 innings without giving up a hit. And the crowd's on their feet.
Well over 40,000 on hand here at Shea tonight, applauding 20-year-old Dwight Gooden, who is being talked to briefly by Keith Hernandez. Everybody knew what was going on, and this ends Dwight's no-hit bid, and it comes with 2 out in the 7th inning on the first pitch to Tim Corcoran.
So Corcoran now 1 for 2. That is not, however, the longest that Dwight Gooden has gone with a no-hitter. Last year, June 6th, against the Pittsburgh Pirates, he had a no-hitter for 7 innings when Doug Frobel, as a pinch hitter, led off the bottom of the 8th at Three Rivers with a little flare to left center. And that was the game, if you remember, where Lee Mazzilli failed to hold on to third base with Jason Thompson hitting the outfield in. He left third base too soon. An appeal play. Everybody had to go back out there, and the Mets won in 13 innings.
Doug Harvey was the third base umpire who made the call.
That was D-Day of last year, June 6th. Dwight Gooden Day, huh? 0-1 to Ozzie Virgil. Another breaking ball, 0-2. Dwight has K'd at least one Philly in every inning but the 5th. And it's 0-2 to Ozzie Virgil. Virgil 0 for 2. Corcoran will go nowhere at first. Breaking ball, tapped foul. Fielded by Dave Bristol, one of the top third base coaches in the business. He's a good one. Had his problems managing. He has managed for 4 major league clubs. Cincinnati Reds, the San Francisco Giants, the Atlanta Braves, Milwaukee Brewers. He is a good third base coach, however. 2-0, Mets lead it. The Mets have 3 hits, the Phillies only 1. The Phillies have committed 2 errors. Fastball fought off. Will Hernandez have room? You have the answer. Still 0-2.
Well, Keith immediately, being the leader that he is, went to the mound to talk to Gooden right after Corcoran's base hit.
I think that was a worthwhile trip.
I do too.
Yeah.
And got a young player, and everybody's screaming and hollering and knows what's going on, and all of a sudden it's over. So let's get back to business. You still got a 2-run lead. The game is at hand. Let's win it. I'm just assuming that's pretty much what he said.
Oh, 2, 2 out. 2-0 Mets. Fastball, foul tipped. Carter couldn't hold on to it.
That's because Virgil foul tipped it right when it was in Carter's glove, practically.
That was not exactly an example of throwing your bat head at the ball.
No.
The ball hit the bat instead of vice versa.
They're talking about that right now because Virgil probably has no idea how he even fouled it off.
Looks like Gooden shook off the curveball. Fastball got him. With that strikeout, Dwight Gooden now takes the National League lead. 52 strikeouts on the year. No runs, a base hit, 1 stranded for the Phillies, and after 6.5, 2-0 New York. Now here's a word from Ivory.
Fans, we want to remind you that the Western Division champion San Diego Padres will be here at Shea for 3 straight night games on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Plenty of good seats are available for the 3 games, so why not come on out to Shea and see the Mets and Steve Garvey, Craig Nettles, and Goose Gossage of the Padres in action. The Los Angeles Dodgers make their first Shea appearance on Memorial Day weekend, Friday, May 24th through Monday, May 27th. The Mets meet Tommy Lasorda's club on Friday night, the 24th, and then Saturday and Sunday afternoons, May 25th and 26th. And the series ends on Memorial Day evening, Monday the 27th. That's a night game on Memorial Day. So get your tickets now at the advanced ticket window at Shea or through Ticketron or Teletron. That's 7 games against the best of the West the week of Monday, May 20th through Memorial Day, Monday, May 27th. Right here at Shea, where close to 50,000 are having a good time tonight.
And the Mets have been playing superb baseball, even though they're 10th in the league in hitting, 10th in the league in pitching. They have the best one-loss percentage in Major League Baseball. Montreal Expos hanging tough as they've defeated the Atlanta Braves 5-0. Cincinnati over Houston 5-2. And all the rest of the games scheduled in the National League on the coast. And you can catch all the wrap-ups of all the scores on Kiner's Corner tonight. Ralph will have a guest. And if it were a 7-inning game right now, it'd be Dwight Gooden. He has the lead 2-0. They do play 9-inning games up in the big show, though. Rafael Santana, the batter. He's 0 for 2. Larry Anderson in relief of Steve Carlton. Fastball is high, 2-0. John Felsky talking with Lee Elia, formerly the manager of the Chicago Cubs. Takes a fastball for a strike. Swing and a miss at a cut fastball. Kind of an interesting pitch. Larry Anderson's a good pitcher. Did a heck of a job for the Phillies last year. Slider lifted right side. First baseman Tim Corcoran. 1 out. And the batter Dwight Gooden. So on your feet, folks.
Dwight has struck out 8 in 7 innings, walked 3, given up only that 1 hit so far to Tim Corcoran in the 7th, top half of this inning, and is the new, at least temporary, leader in strikeouts in the league.
Anderson in relief of Carlton. Fastball low. He's retired 4 in a row since coming into the 6th inning. There's a strike. This house tonight only 173 shy of 50,000. Let y'all figure it out. Base hit up the middle. Dwight Gooden with a base hit, so he's now 1 for 2. And the batter's going to be Mookie Wilson. So Dwight helping his own cause.
That's the first hit off Anderson, only the 4th for the Mets in the ball game. There are 2 runs coming on Foster's 2-run home run. Got it off the end of the bat and got it just past Anderson, and when he did, it was a base hit all the way.
In case all you mathematicians out there have given up, 49,827 on hand tonight, 46,143 paid.
Well, as I told Ralph earlier, I forgot my calculator tonight.
It's a bigger crowd than opening day. Only had 48,000 opening day. Tap toward second, and Mookie Wilson goes down. So really, if an umpire's in doubt, that's really the only way you can tell whether a ball hit a player in the foot or not.
Sometimes when you hit a ball like that, it might be a good idea to go down anyway.
If you could only act fast enough.
That's right. If you can think fast enough. Looked like he hit Mookie right on the front toe, meaning the toe of his front foot.
Yeah, I have yet to find anybody with toes on near their heel.
Yeah. Which toe did you hurt? My front one. Didn't hit the back ones at all.
Oh, man.
Funny language, isn't it? Spell it out.
Fastball is high, 1-1 to Mookie Wilson. Anderson, 6'3", 205 pounds, 31 years old, from Portland, Oregon. 2-1 to Wilson.
Anderson has a somewhat unusual delivery in that his left leg goes one way and his right arm goes the other when he starts his delivery. He almost looks like a sawhorse or something.
A lot of arms and legs coming at you. Tough to pick up the ball from him. Jams Mookie. It's 2-2 to Mook.
Did you ever notice, though, how the guys with the smooth delivery like Gooden usually have so much stuff that doesn't make any difference anyway?
Yeah, well,
you know,
Nolan Ryan.
Right.
Of course, Bob Gibson was an exception. He was turkey jerky and
came at you.
But Carlton, very smooth in his delivery.
Right.
Sandy Koufax. Mookie fouls another one off. David Rucker is warming for the Phillies. Came up when Jerry Koosman was placed on the DL. The Coos had arthroscopic surgery performed on his left knee and should return in about a month. Fastball hit well to center, but Von Hayes drifting back. 2 out. So Mookie hit on that front foot, one of his front toes. As we look at Tom Gorman and Joe Zambito, 2 lefties getting their work in. That brought back memories of the '69 series when Gil Hodges appealed to home plate umpire Shag Crawford when Don Clendenin hit one off his foot.
Is that the shoe shine ball?
Yep, the shoe shine ball, right. Found polish on the ball, and Clendenin was allowed to make that Cleon Jones, not Don Clendenin. And Cleon did some damage at that at bat. He had a base hit when he was allowed to hit, and Wally Backman's going to be allowed to hit. Pinch hitting for Kelvin Chapman.
With the right-hander in there. As you see, Wally 266, no homers, 3 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, he's 1 for 4.
Mets lead 2-0. Only 5 hits in this ball game. With Foster's home run in the 4th, with Darryl Strawberry aboard, it was the first time either of these teams had scored against Gooden or Carlton. And Backman's going to bunt. He might beat it out. And down. Wally Backman may have been stepped on by Larry Anderson. Man.
Backman may have also jammed his elbow into the bag on that head-first slide. Let's see. Wally worked on this so much in spring training, almost every single day. Bunting to the right side for a base hit. He's easily safe, and yes, he may have had his arm stepped on. In fact, both things might have happened. It looked like he bounced over the bag, and Anderson may have caught him with a spike. He went into the bag with his elbow or shoulder, and it looked from the way Anderson jumped off of him like he might have stepped on him as well. But you got to go a long ways to hurt that guy.
He is a gutty little performer, and John Felsky looks like he's going to make a move here. Might be the left-hander David Rucker. Trainer Steve Garland out looking at Wally Backman now. See if Wally's all right.
That obviously is a base hit, the second hit off Anderson in the 5th for the Mets. Gooden is going to come back into the dugout rather than stand out there while they make a pitching change. Gooden, the runner at second base.
So it looks like the pitcher's going to be David Rucker. Pitching change will give us a chance to go over the scores in both leagues.
Well, lots of the action in the National League has yet to get underway, and of course Ralph Kiner will have updates for you during Kiner's Corner on the Chicago-San Diego game, Pittsburgh at Los Angeles, and St. Louis at San Francisco. So stay with us for Ralph's show to get the latest on those games, which will be starting very shortly. In fact, Chicago-San Diego just getting underway. Elsewhere in the National League, Cincinnati beat Houston 5-2. Browning, the winner, he's 3-1. Ted Power with the save. Frank DiPino, the loser, in relief for Houston. Kevin Bass had a home run for Cincinnati. Montreal beat Atlanta as the Expos stay hot. Naylor, the loser for Atlanta, his first loss of the year against 7 victories. Bryn Smith, the starter and winner, is now 5-0 for Montreal as he pitched a complete game 6-hit shutout. And lots of action in the American League tonight as well. The Yankees are in Kansas City tied 3-3 going into the 6th inning. Guidry against Leibrandt in that ball game. Boston at Boston leading Oakland 3-2 going into the 8th inning. Toronto leads Seattle 4-3 bottom of the 6th inning. Minnesota leads Baltimore 4-3 bottom of the 6th inning. They're in the bottom of the 5th in Chicago with Detroit leading the White Sox 2-1. Tom Seaver against Walt Terrell, 2 former Mets, both 3-0 in that affair. California shutting out Milwaukee 4-0 bottom of the 4th inning. Cleveland leading Texas 2-1 in the top of the 5th.
Well, we go from the golden vibes of Steve Zabriski to the golden vibes of Frank Sinatra in the background. With this promo, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd team up in Steven Spielberg's comedy adventure 1941 this Monday night at 9 on our $1 Million Movie here on WOR. What do you know about David Rucker, Steve-O?
Well, as we just flashed across your screen, he's 1-0, no ERA. He's only pitched 4 innings since being called up, no saves. He has walked one and struck out 4 in those 4 innings of work without allowing a hit.
He'll be facing Keith Hernandez. Keith 0 for 3 on the evening. Entered the game batting .299. David Rucker, the 3rd Philadelphia pitcher. Fastball is tight. Hernandez and Gary Carter are tied for game-winning RBIs, leading the Mets. Hernandez with 4, Gary with 4. Another fastball inside, 2-0.
Larry Anderson pitched an inning and 2/3. He was charged with 2 hits, 1 strikeout, no walks. He is, of course, responsible for both base runners, Gooden and Backman. And I would imagine if Hernandez gets on, John Felsky will go to a right-hander. Hernandez, however, may be hitting off David Rucker, who came to the Phillies in the spring for Ivan De Jesus and Bill Campbell. 4 straight balls to Hernandez, and we might see some more action out of the Philadelphia Philly dugout. You don't want Rucker pitching to Carter, do you? Or do you? Well, John Felsky doesn't have a mic on, so he can't answer verbally.
Well, he's got Charlie Hudson warming up in the bullpen. So why would you have Charlie Hudson out there? Base hit now, and this game's over.
This is the game situation right here. There's 49, Charles Hudson.
Back to the action. Rucker will work from the stretch. Bases loaded with Mets. 2 out, and they have a 2-run lead. Slider is low, 1-0. Of course, you do have Strawberry on deck.
But there are 2 outs.
Wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Phillies need 1 run, or 1 out. Pardon me. Ball hit well left center. Gapper. 1 run scored. 2 runs scored. Just clean the bases. 5-0 Mets.
Gary Carter is now tied with Keith Hernandez for the club lead in RBIs with 15. As he drives in 3 with a double to the wall in left center field. Carter goes out and gets it, and gets all of it. Von Hayes with a valiant effort to at least try to knock it down and save 1 run. Stone with his great speed still can't get there until it hits the wall, and Hernandez finishes it up by scoring all the way from first base on the double by Carter.
RBIs number 13, 14, and 15 for Gary Carter. He is now tied with Keith Hernandez for the team lead. Darryl Strawberry, 1 for 2 on the night. Slider is low, 2-0. Would you rather have Larry Anderson pitching to Keith Hernandez, or would you rather have David Rucker pitching to Gary Carter? That's part of the game, and that isn't 20/20 hindsight, folks.
Nope. We talked about it before he even stepped in the batter's box. Pitching coach Claude Osteen out to talk to Rucker. But your point is well taken, Timmy. Why do you have Charles Hudson warming up if you're not going to bring him in with Carter up there and the bases loaded?
You don't want to bring him in when the game's out of reach. And not that things can't happen in this game, but with Dwight Gooden as strong as he is tonight, why wouldn't you bring in Charlie Hudson? But he didn't, and the Mets capitalized on that. 5-0, New York leads. Fastball is tight, 3-0.
Carter now with a 5-game hitting streak, and he's driven in 10 runs in those 5 games.
Strawberry had a rip and fouls it off. So it's 3-1 as Davy Johnson gave him the 3-0 green light. Why not? Swing and a miss. So it's 3-2 to Darryl Strawberry. 2 out, Carter at second. Mets trying to win their 4th game in a row. Slider is high, and Strawberry walks. And the batter's going to be George Foster. Big hit in this game, a 2-run homer by Foster back in the 4th inning.
That was George's 4th home run of the year, and the 2 RBIs gave him 10 for the season.
Mets have runners at first and second. 2 out. Tim McCarver along with Steve Zabriski and Ralph Kiner. Ralph making his way down to that ever familiar Kiner's 23 years. Ralph has lived at that corner after every Mets home game. And George swings and misses 0-1.
During his playing days, he used that left field corner in Forbes Field.
And used it well.
Yes.
Indeed, he did.
Productively.
368 home runs in 10 years as Foster fouls one back. 0-2. That's averaging 36.8 home runs a year. That's strong.
It's awesome. And you have to think about what might have been had his recurring back problems not forced him to retire earlier than he might have otherwise.
Yeah, he really didn't have a chance to take advantage of that wind blowing out at Wrigley Field. Fastball is high, so it's 1-2 to George Foster. Fastball for a strike, struck him right on out of there. So Foster's down, first strikeout for Rucker, but all the horses are in. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left. And at the end of 7 complete, the Mets with a comfortable 5-0 lead. We'll be back for the 8th right after a word from Nissan. Top of the 8th inning, Dwight Gooden working on his 2nd shutout of the year as Wally Backman stays in the ball game. Wally with that big bunt base hit with 2 out and Gooden on first base, and then Hernandez walked and Gary Carter had a bases clearing double. It's now a 5-0 ball game, and the batter Glenn Wilson from Baytown, Texas. Glenn went to Sam Houston University, or is it college? Sam
well, it used to be. It's university now.
Yeah, I thought it was
a
university.
Used to be a college. That is correct. Sam Houston State.
Sam Houston State. Curveball for a strike to Glenn.
It's down there where they say "by dingy" and things like that.
Yes, sir. Swing and a miss, 0-2 to Glenn Wilson. I'll probably get letters for this one, but if it weren't for Tennessee, there would never probably be a Texas. Wes Gardner working out in the bullpen. Swing and a miss. He got him 10th strikeout for Glenn Wilson. We'll tell you about that little bit of history right after we see the 10th strikeout of the night.
Well, Dwight goes over double digits yet again as he gets that high cheese by Glenn Wilson. And now with 53 strikeouts, Gooden leads the National League over Jose De Leon of Pittsburgh and Fernando Valenzuela of Los Angeles by 2.
Luis Aguayo 0-for-1. Fastball is low, 1-0. Do you remember the Alamo?
I certainly do, and those Tennessee Volunteers.
That's correct.
Held on to the bitter end against Santana.
Who were they? Sam Houston,
Stephen F. Austin, Sam Bowie.
Davy Crockett, Sam Bowie, all of them from right around that Columbia River. 1-1 to Aguayo. I'm mad now.
Spoken as a proud Tennessean.
Check swing, base hit, right field. Aguayo tried to hold up, and Gooden wished he had have done it. Second hit for the Phillies, and look at Louie laughing about it.
He's almost apologetic. He just spoiled Gooden's one-hitter. The base hit that Corcoran got in the 7th to break up the no-hitter was a clean, sharp single on the first pitch to him. And Aguayo and Hernandez share a smile over the check swing base hit. Second hit off Gooden.
And the batter is going to be Darren Dalton, who was called up as a catcher and a pinch hitter when Bo Diaz was put on the disabled list.
Dalton hitting only 133 with no homers and 2 RBIs. He's been up 4 times as a pinch hitter with no hits, but he does have a pinch hit RBI.
Talk about a teen idol, this young man, good-looking guy from Arkansas City, Kansas.
Only there they call it Arkansas City.
Arkansas? Oh, they do?
Yes, they do, because of, I guess, it's in the fact that it's in Kansas.
There's a strike. I like that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Arkansas. And it's funny because in Kansas it's the Arkansas River, but in Arkansas it's the Arkansas River. Doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it is.
Some people say where I are and say you are in Kansas. 0-2 to Dalton. Where the Quantrell and those Raiders hung out about 100 years ago or so.
You're into the history tonight, aren't you?
Fired up. 0-2 to Darren Dalton. Fastball is high. Dalton had problems with his shoulders. Matter of fact, he had a rotator cuff injury. That has kept seen sparing action. He saw some action on that fastball. 11 strikeouts for Dwight Gooden. 2 out.
Well, the doctor continues, as he did last season, to appear to get stronger as the game goes along. Talk about a guy losing it in the late innings. Dwight seems to be able to find something in the late innings.
Sniffs it out. Here's Juan Samuel. He has struck out 3 times. 11 strikeouts for Gooden. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
At 11 strikeouts, a new season high for Dwight. His previous high 9 when he shut out Cincinnati back on April 14th, 4-0. It's only other shutout of the year, should he hold on and get one here.
Fastball is high, 1-1.
In that game, he struck out 10, going the distance.
Struck out 16 Phillies last year, working 8 innings of a game at the Vet. He lost that ball game 2-1 on a balk in the 8th inning. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Gooden has been all over Juan Samuel tonight. I don't know that Samuel has fouled a pitch off. He got him twice swinging and once looking.
Swing and a miss, 12th strikeout for Dwight Gooden. Fans are on their feet. No runs, 1 hit, only the 2nd of the ball game, as Gooden now has 12 strikeouts. And after 7.5, the Mets have the lead 5-0. And we'll be back right after this word from Budweiser. Now the new pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, Charles Hudson. He's 0-2, 2.76 ERA. All his games, 11, have been in relief. 16 in the 3rd innings of work. Walked 7 and struck out 10. Charles Hudson.
And he'll be facing for the Mets here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ray Knight, Rafael Santana, and Dwight Gooden. The Mets leading it 5-0 as Dwight is twirling a 2-hit shutout so far, having struck out 12. Knight was a strikeout victim his last time up. He's also grounded out and walked. Hudson, the 4th pitcher of the night for Philadelphia. Fly ball into right center field. Vaughn Hayes is there. One away.
Charlie Hudson from Ennis, Texas. 9-11 last year, 4.04 ERA and 30 games started. He was the first rookie to ever start and finish a game in National League Championship Series history.
Leaped into prominence. And a strike called to Rafael Santana. Santana 0 for 3. Struck out, grounded out, and popped out. Takes a breaking ball. It looked to be a strike. The Dutch runner disagrees. 1-1. Two and one. When Charles was pitching on national television back in that rookie year, the announcers kept referring to him as Charlie Hudson. His mother called the network and said, "My son's name is Charles. Tell them to quit calling him Charlie." 3-1 now.
His mom, along with many, many millions more, will be celebrating their day after tomorrow. Big day here at Shea also.
And we'll be right here. Ball 4 on a 3-run pitch.
By the way, tomorrow, Shane Raleigh goes against Sid Fernandez. It'll be interesting to see how Fernandez does. And on Sunday, Kevin Gross against Ron Darling. Darling has pitched exceptionally well lately.
Sure has. Well, Dwight Gooden getting a standing ovation as he comes up to the plate. Dwight with a base hit and a walk, and 3 times up. He also struck out his other time up. He also scored a run in the 7th ahead of Gary Carter's bases clearing double. Bunts it and pops it up foul out of play. 1 strike. The doctor is in tonight. He brought a full black bag with him. He has had it all working. Fastball, location, curveball, even the changeup.
So he's making house calls down here at Shea.
He's on a 9-inning house call. Now that'll raise the ire of a few of the remaining faithful here. One and one. Bunt attempt foul away again. 1-2.
Rather unusual motion. Right before Charles Hudson comes set, he really goes in there for the feel of the ball or the grip of the ball. But that is very close to a balk. When you toy that much while you're still on the rubber, moving that glove around and then moving it down. Of course, Larry Jackson used to do it every time he did it. Watch him.
And off the handle, base hit into right field. Santana to second. Gooden has his second hit of the ball game, and he's on base for the 3rd consecutive time.
White squared around as though he was going to bunt. Now he just lifts a flare over the head of Juan Samuel for his 2nd hit of the ball game, 7th for the Mets.
And the doctor wants different jackets.
He's the only guy with 2 hits in the Mets lineup tonight.
He's gotten as many as he's given up. Mookie Wilson, 1 for 4 with a single and a stolen base. 1 out, runners at first and second. The Mets already leading 5-0 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Held up, ball 1. David Rucker lasted just a 1/3 of an inning in which he issued 2 walks and a bases clearing double. 2 of those runs were charged to Larry Anderson, however. In the dirt, it gets away and both runners will advance. Santana goes to third, it rounds and holds. And Gooden goes down to second base. So I would assume a wild pitch will be charged against Charles Hudson.
Tough play for Ozzie Virgil, but watch how he goes after this ball. Any fastball really off the shin guard, it looked like, but whenever you go after a ball in the dirt with your glove, you're taking the wrong approach, but certainly an understandable approach on a fastball. You should never go after a breaking ball in the dirt. Should always use that chest protector and try to coddle that ball and keep it out in front of you. But certainly an understandable wild pitch on a ball like that, because you're never anticipating a ball in the dirt. A fastball in the dirt.
Right. The breaking ball is going to bounce up.
And it's going to go down, too, so that's why you go down with it.
Yeah, you can see it going down. Mookie fouls the fastball back, and it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, that fastball right at the plate. It's got to be the toughest play.
Yeah, you don't know whether it's going to stay down or whatever, and really have to be fortunate just to keep the ball in front of you. Phillies have drawn their infield in now.
Fastball fouled away again, and the count now 2-2.
This is an arguable point, but I'll argue it till the frogs go back in.
Or the cows come home.
Or the cows come home. For second, third, you're up more than 1 run, or you're not down more than 1 run. You send that runner from third regardless of the infield location. If they're up, it doesn't matter. You take a chance. The worst that can happen, you end up with runners at first and third and 2 out.
I concur wholeheartedly. Fouled off of Virgil, and the count remains 2-2. And now, as umpires are wont to do, they will give the catcher a little extra time.
Yeah, this ball really smokes Ozzie. It looks like in the left part of either the shoulder or the neck. You want to keep things away from that Adam's apple. Ozzie is not wearing that protective device that hangs down from the mask. I know why he's not doing it. It bothers some guys. When I got hit in the throat in '79, I had a little piece soldered on.
A little extra wire. Breaking ball and a beauty. An off-speed breaking pitch from Hudson gets Mookie. Hudson's first strikeout.
It's a good pitch right here, Steve. This ball really goes down after a lot of sliders and fastballs and something hard. Mookie has a full cut at a breaking ball. Good pitch, Charlie Hudson.
And here's Wally Backman up for the second time. Backman last inning bunted for a base hit to advance Dwight Gooden, the runner ahead of him. Hernandez then walked, and that set the stage for Carter's 3-run double. Two out, runners at second and third, 5-0 New York leading, bottom of the 8th. And a strike call. Wally's been on a mini tear lately, 310 over the last 14 games. That, of course, will improve with his base hit tonight. Line down the left field line, but it's out of play. So a 2-strike count on Walter. Wally from the great Pacific Northwest, Beaverton, Oregon.
Beautiful country out there.
Oh, you got that right. Great fishing and hunting. And Wally does them both with regularity in the off-season. He held up, and it's 1-2. Santana at third base, and Gooden at second. 2 out. The crowd treats the Mets' offensive part of the inning as just a delay between Gooden's appearances, I think. There's more noise when the Phillies are hitting than when the Mets are hitting, even when the Mets are threatening to score.
True.
especially now that the crowd feels that the game is somewhat in hand. 2-2. Curveball popped up. Schmidt has a play and makes it, and the inning is over. Now the Mets get a base hit and a walk, but leave 2 here in the 8th inning, and we'll go to the 9th. Dwight Gooden working on a 2-hit shutout, leading the Phillies 5-0. And now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. Dwight Gooden will take his 2-hit shutout into the 9th inning, looking for his 3rd complete game of the year and his 2nd shutout this year. Dwight with 1 1-hitter, 2 2-hitters, and 3 3-hitters last year. That's easy to remember.
Sure is. 1, 2, 3. Easy as 1, 2, 3. And this year against the Phillies, he's worked 16 innings. He's given up 5 hits. He's walked 4, struck out 18 in 8 innings. In 16 innings.
Jeff Stone to lead it off, takes a strike. Stone 0 for 3, has grounded out, struck out, and flied out. Dwight has struck out 12 through the first 8 to give him 55 strikeouts in 51 innings this year. Fouled away out of play, and it's 0-2. Temporarily, Dwight leads the National League. There are a preponderance of Ks. An even dozen looking for a baker's dozen. Fouled away again. Still 0-2. Coming into tonight, Jose De Leon and Fernando Valenzuela had 51 apiece to lead the National League, with Nolan Ryan third with 48, tied with Mario Soto. Gooden was in 6th place at 43, and he has vaulted into the lead once again. See you later. No.
Went for the head fake.
Boy,
I did too.
Dutch gave me the head fake. I thought he was going to punch him out.
This is not a Dutch treat. Was close, but it was outside. Dutch Rennert, the home plate umpire.
Big curveball, and he just did get a piece of it and fouls it off. Still 1-2.
Mets do have action in their bullpen. Right-hander Roger McDowell and the left-hander Jesse Orozco up. There they are. Think about it. When you're a strikeout pitcher, you just throw so many more pitches than a contact pitcher, obviously.
You automatically start off by the fact that you get deeper counts in order to get to the strikeout in the first place.
Right.
Plus, Dwight has so many balls fouled off the other way. Did he hold up? Yes. And it's 2-2. Five runs on 7 hits, no errors for the Mets. No runs, 2 hits, 2 errors for Philadelphia. Check swing fouled away. Still 2-2. Stone was hitting .304 over the last 7 games, hitting in 5 of those 7. Until the doctor paid him a call. There's that baker's dozen. They can put the 13th K up in K corner.
He keeps doing this. He's going to make a lot of dough, too. Strikeout number 13 and 5 in a row for Dwight Gooden. Man, what a talent.
Now here's Vaughn Hayes, another fine talent. Hayes 0 for 2. Walked, struck out, and flied to center. Low, ball 1. Hayes has a 4-game hitting streak on the line, modest as it may be. And he rips one to right field, and that'll be a base hit. Strawberry over to run it down, and it'll go all the way to the wall. Hayes will coast into second base with a double. So the 3rd hit off Dwight Gooden comes with 1 out in the 9th.
That is only the second time that the first three hitters have gotten on against Gooden tonight. Both Somwell and Stone are 0 for 4. Von Hayes now 1 for 3 with a walk. But if you keep the first three guys off base against this ball club, your chances of beating them go dramatically up. Those guys can fly.
And now here's Mike Schmidt. With a runner in scoring position and 1 out, Schmidt has fly deep to center, struck out and popped out to Hernandez. And strike 1.
See how Gary Carter, once he gave the sign, he looked up at Mike Schmidt, and the reason catchers do that, they want to set up late. You set up too early, a guy can, even with good peripheral vision, and Schmidt certainly has that, can tell, especially if you're sitting outside. Watch Gary give the sign and then look up at Mike. Come on, Gary. There.
It wasn't as important because he wasn't setting up outside, so he could wait.
Oh, okay.
But you're right, guys peek for the signs, and they also peek probably more to see where the catcher's setting up.
Sure.
And there's the old trick of pounding the glove inside.
Oh, yeah, and that's very effective,
moving
too.
to the outside. Carter wears that little piece like you used to have on your mask, down underneath the chin.
There's that little peek upward.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Most good pitchers want you to move around because they want to throw to the center of your body as opposed to a little mitt. You start reaching with your target to your right and your left, all they have to throw for is the mitt. But if that mitt is centered behind your body, as Carter does so well, then it gives him a much better target. Little depth perception there.
That's right. You really, what you try to do is look at the 4 corners, the 2 shoulders and the 2 knees. 2-2.
Especially for a guy like Gooden, because he's not a spot pitcher. Ed Lynch now will throw for the mitt, and his target becomes smaller because he doesn't have the action on his pitches like Dwight Gooden does, of course. Not too many guys around do.
That's for sure. Von Hayes at second base with 1 out. 9th inning, 5-0 New York. Popped up to left field. Foster with plenty of room and time. 2 away. So Dwight, 1 shutout of the year. And the batter will be Tim Corcoran, who broke up Dwight's no-hit bid with 2 out in the 7th inning on a sharply hit single to right. He's also walked and popped to short. Drifting out of play outside of third. Knight takes a look but won't have a play. Strike 1.
It's like Gary's using the last sign there. If you're using the last sign, you want to mix up the last sign with the same sign early in the count. He went 2-4-4-1, and he threw a fastball. If they're using obviously the last sign with the fastball, well, then it's the last sign. And what's good about using the last sign is you make the pitcher wait. He doesn't start too early, because if he started like on the second sign, it'd be easier to pick up. Fastball inside. See? That's what's bad about guessing. Nice going.
It's a good thing you weren't hitting then when you peaked.
Good thing I wasn't relying on that guy at second. And if that guy were on second were me, I'd really be in trouble, wouldn't I?
The hitter'd be coming after you. Too high, 2-1.
Have to guess again then.
Must not have been the last sign. Either that or we missed it. Oh, that's a good point. If it is the last sign, you should give the same sign earlier in the sequence.
Right.
Because if it was the fastball, it'd be easy to pick up. Pretty well hit to center field. Mookie going back, and this could be the ball game. Mets win. Dwight Gooden shuts out Philadelphia on 3 hits, striking out 13 in the process. His record is now 5-1 on the year as he picks up his 2nd shutout and 3rd complete game of the season. Almost 50,000 fans on hand to see it as Steve Carlton, the starter for Philadelphia, takes the loss. Lefty is now 0-3. Tim and I will be back to wrap it up, and of course Ralph will follow with Kiner's Corner. And I would imagine that the doctor will make one more house call to visit Mr. Kiner post-game. Stay with us here at Shea Stadium. Tim and I'll be right back. The Mets win at 5-0. Now here's a word from your Tri-State Chevrolet dealer. Well, the Mets are on a roll as Dwight Gooden, with some help from George Foster and Gary Carter, kept it rolling tonight. The Mets have won now 4 in a row, and regardless of what happens at San Diego tonight with the Chicago Cubs, the Mets will remain in first place in the National League East. And I'll tell you, the atmosphere that abounds in this place whenever that young man pitches is unbelievable. You know that were he not on the mound tonight, there would not have been close to 50,000 people in this ballpark.
And Dwight Gooden and Steve Carlton packing them in, but primarily Dwight Gooden. I totally concur. George Foster, a big home run in the 4th inning to break a 0-0 deadlock. And, of course, Gary Carter clearing the bases in the 7th. And kind of an unusual move by leaving the left-hander in to face Gary Carter, as we chronicled during the ball game. But even with the 2-0 lead, I don't think the doctor was going to give up anything tonight. He gave up that 2-out harmless double in the 9th inning. And got the first guy in the inning almost every inning. As a matter of fact, I think for 9 innings. He has yet to give up a hit to the or run to the Philadelphia Phillies in 17 innings of work. And he has struck out 20 in those 17 innings. This is amazing.
The Phillies are going to try to see what they can do to miss him next time around.
I don't blame them.
They're having enough troubles without the doctor calling on them. That, incidentally, points up an interesting fact you mentioned about John Felsky not going to the bullpen in that situation against Carter. That really could have been the game, although you did say, and I concur, that the way Gooden was throwing, the chances of the Phillies coming back and getting 3 runs was minimal. But if you don't bring the guy in there, when do you bring him in?
You bring him in the next inning, just like John Felsky did. He pinch hit for the pitcher in the top of the 8th inning, and Charles Hudson worked the last inning. But with Dwight Gooden throwing as well as he did, that kind of ends up being eyewash, really.
That's true. It made very little difference in the ball game. We'll be back to Shea Stadium, where the Mets have been victorious 5-0, a 3-hit shutout by Dwight Gooden. But now, here's a word from Budweiser. The Mets have won their 4th in a row, 5-0 over Philadelphia behind Dwight Gooden. And it appeared tonight, although the way Dwight Gooden pitches, it's hard to say this was his best outing. But with 13 strikeouts in the ball game and the way in which he went about his business tonight, it appeared to me, at least, Timmy, like this was his best outing and he had his best stuff of the season so far.
Even though he does have 1 shutout, and he has shared in a shutout, Jesse Orozco pitching the last half inning at Philadelphia. So actually in those 3 ball games, he's gone 28 innings without giving up a run. A superb job by Dwight Gooden, and Sid Fernandez will try to make it 5 in a row tomorrow. The Phillies now with 4 in a row, and they've won their last 7 out of 11.
It'll be interesting tomorrow as Fernandez has just been activated, called up from Tidewater. They looked at him. They liked what they saw. So he's on the roster. He starts tomorrow against the Phillies. We'll be back with you on Sunday afternoon. Ron Darling will go for the Mets on Sunday in the final game of this 3-game series. The line score in the ball game once again for the Mets, 5 runs on 7 hits, no errors. For the Phillies, no runs, only 3 hits and 2 errors. Dwight Gooden goes all the way for his 5th win against only 1 loss, striking out 13 for his 2nd shutout of the year. The loser, Steve Carlton, is 0-3. Tim?
All right, Steve, the final score once again. The New York Mets 5 and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. New York Mets baseball has been brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Manufacturers Hanover, we realize your potential. Nissan, who invites you to test drive the sizzling 300ZX Turbo, one of the world's great sport cars. The 300ZX, it's awesome. Ivory, for a pure, natural kind of clean. Lather up with Ivory. Your local tri-state Chevrolet dealer of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The American Express card. Don't leave home without it. and by Garcia Vega Cigars. You can relax and enjoy a cigar anytime. Garcia Vega, still an honest cigar. Be with us again Sunday at 1:30 when the Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be Kevin Gross against Ron Darling. Be sure to stay with us, speaking of pitchers, for Kiner's Corner, whose special guest will be, obviously, Dwight Gooden. Mets Baseball 85 is produced by Bill Webb and Carl Shurkin. Directed by Bill Webb. Associate directors were Jeff Mitchell and Alexander Salman. Technical Operations Manager, Arthur Gress. Technical Director, Robert Goodman. Promotional consideration was provided by True Value Hardware Stores and Home Centers, bringing the world beautiful music with the Sanyo multiband, multi-voltage stereo radio cassette recorder. Mets Baseball 85 is a production of Channel 9 Sports. Tonight's game was brought to you through the facilities of Vanda Communications, and the announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Doubleday Sports Incorporated. Good evening, everybody.